Good evening. Thanks for joining our Ask Us Anything, our webinar. We really love doing these, and really appreciate all the time that you guys put in by coming on to this webinar this evening at this time. We'll just give it another 2-3 minutes before we start to give more people the chance to join. So please bear with us. It's 6:31. We'll start just in 2 minutes at around 6:33. Thank you, everyone. Hey everyone, we'll start in exactly 1 minute. Thanks for everyone joining. Okay, let's start. So again, thanks everyone. My name is Rami Tabata. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Stake. Joining me today on our webinar is Sarah, who's our head of marketing. Again, thanks everyone for joining. I can see a lot of people joining the call, and we'll try to make this as effective and as efficient as possible. So here's our agenda. We're going to start off with giving you some intro on, introduction on Stake, who we are, what we do, our track record, and then Sarah will take over to talk to you about our Q3 performance, how to get started, what's coming soon on Stake, and at the end, we'll go through some Q&As and answer as many questions as we possibly can. As I said, here are your hosts, myself and Sarah. Please ask us any questions. Looking forward to getting started. So quick intro to Stake, who we are, what do we do? As we know, real estate is a very popular asset class, especially in this part of the world. People are taught from when they're young. Your parents tell you if you have any money, you put it into real estate. Everyone's talking about real estate in Dubai. It seems like everywhere you go today, whether you're going to the dentist, to the barber, the gym, everyone's talking about real estate. So, what we wanted to do is make this asset class easy. How can we get people to invest into this asset class without all the weight that comes with it, which is restricted access, it's inconvenient. When you're buying property, it's putting all that capital into one asset class rather than, diversifying it, which means putting all of it into one property. It also is very illiquid. When you're putting money into real estate, it's a heavy asset. You need to find someone who can afford to buy it as well. Dubai has gotten a lot better in terms of transparency, but there's still a lot more we could do. So, how do you invest knowing that you're buying the right property at the right price with the right developer? So, we wanted to create something that is better to the alternative, which is why we built Stake. We wanted to empower everyone. That's our mission, to empower everyone to own and build wealth through real estate. What is Stake? What does it do? It allows you to buy real estate starting from 500 dirhams, a fraction of a property. You do it in 3 minutes, which is 14,400 times faster than the traditional way of buying real estate. It allows you to diversify. So instead of putting your money into one property, you can diversify. If you have $5,000 or $10,000, you can diversify it across various properties in Dubai. It's fully transparent. We're regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority based in the DIFC. And, I just want to focus on that. By being regulated, it means, we follow stringent rules and regulations, our entire platform, everything that we put on the platform. That's what it means by being regulated. And that's why we have to be fully transparent in everything that we do on the platform. And then also we allow people to earn monthly income. So when you invest with us, you're buying into ready real estate opportunities. So it's nothing that's off plan. It's existing real estate in prime areas that are rented, where you can start making income, and we distribute that income immediately at the end of every month. And then we allow you to sell your stake. We created something called the exit windows. We're one of the first people to do this in the region, called the exit windows, that allows people to sell their stakes on the platform, on an app, and it allows you to really monetize and exit after 1 year if you want to. And I think one thing that I really want to focus on is the user journey and the ease of investing on a platform like Stake. Is it's like buying something on Amazon. You add the cart, you check out, you have a portfolio view. We really push the envelope on creating an amazing experience for our investors. We've rapidly become the leading real estate investment platform in the MENA region. The beauty of being based in Dubai and our regulation, it allows us to onboard anyone from anywhere in the world. We're just under 800,000 users, which makes us the largest real estate investment platform here. We have investors from over 170 countries, over 205 nationalities. One of the things that we've done as well is maintain an amazing Trustpilot score. Our users love using our platform. Customer service is at the core of everything we do. We've paid out more than 20 million dirhams of rental income, and we pay that monthly, and that's just going to grow as we add more properties. And we've transacted just under $500 million of transactions, which puts us ahead of anyone in the market. We've also, when you look at our business, we've been covered by some of the leading publications and press in the region. To date, we've built a portfolio of over 290 properties, which we manage in both short and long term. And when I say that, we're growing now at close to over 30 properties a month. So you can imagine as our portfolio grows, it gives people an opportunity to really invest in different areas in Dubai, allows you to diversify, it allows you to see areas that have high yield versus areas that have high capital appreciation potential versus areas that are balanced. So really, we've put together a great portfolio that our investors have benefited from and expanded into new areas in Dubai. We focus, I'm just saying, we really focus on prime opportunities with top developers. We won't take on properties from anyone. We get now over 100 properties sent to us a week. We really literally take less than 10% of those because of the fact that we really focus on the properties that come onto the platform in terms of location, developer, the quality of the property, the views, the capital appreciation potential. We really look at all of that. And really, we believe that anything that comes onto the platform, we'd want to operate and live in ourselves. So if you look at really the quality that we focus on and the yields that we offer, we're giving people the best opportunities and all over across neighborhoods in Dubai. I'll pass it on to Sarah now for our Q3 investor report, and we'll answer questions at the end.
All right, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Just to introduce myself, my name's Sarah, Head of Marketing at Stake. So we've just released our second investor report. We did our first H1 2024 report 3 months ago. We've just released our Q3. This is a chance to look back and see how we performed as a portfolio over the last few months. 2 areas we want to zoom into quickly. The first is looking about our areas that we're investing in. So as we grow the business, as we bring more investors to the platform, we want to make sure we're giving a varied opportunity of different locations to invest in for different reasons. So if you look on the product, you can see our investment strategies. They're different based on the level of maybe risk somebody wants, if they want capital appreciation, if they want high yield, there's different options there. And what that's allowed us to do is branch out to make sure we offer diversification for investors. So if you look at the graph, everything in yellow are all the areas where we have bought units in the last 3 months. And then the green is how we performed versus last year. So you can see the contrast, the level of growth, and you can also see where we're buying. So JVC is performing very well. We look at that as also a capital growth location, and it's performing very well for our investors. So we're continuing to buy there. When we look at the level of properties as well, overall, you can see that we've now acquired about 60 properties in the last few months. So one of the things at Stake, if you're familiar with Stake, the way our business model works, is we recommend a 5-year hold period. That's because we believe real estate is an asset class you need to hold to see value. However, the Dubai real estate market has done incredibly well, which has given opportunities to our investors to exit earlier. So what we've been doing this year, we've been exiting whole home sales, so people can liquidate a lot sooner than the 5-year recommended hold period. So in Q3 alone, we've already exited another 4 properties, and you can see the returns that some of these investors have had. It's very, very strong when you look at an annualized ROI. And you've got to remember, when you look at an annualized ROI and you look at the other asset classes, there's really no comparison in terms of like how this has performed for our investors. So the quicker we can get returns and the quicker we give liquidity options, again, that helps you as investors diversify your portfolio, get these returns, and reinvest them into different units that we're now bringing onto Stake as well. So if you are interested in having a look at the report, there's got loads of details in there in terms of how we've done. You can see it across our social media channels. You can scan to view the report there as well. And any questions, again, reach out to our sales team if you've got questions on the report. So just quickly, before we go into the kind of Ask Us Anything session, just how you need to get started with Stake. So if you're not already familiar, it's super simple. You need 2 documents. Because we are regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, we need passport, proof of address from anywhere in the world. As soon as you've got that, you're ready to get started with investing. It literally takes a couple of minutes. We've got people on standby approving everything. Everything is very, very seamless. If you have any questions or queries regarding passport or proof of address, again, reach out to us and we can answer any of those questions. So one thing that's important to touch on is how we make this work. How do we allow 1,000 investors to invest into one unit? So the way in which we do this, again, because we're regulated and we're located in the DIFC, that's the Dubai International Financial Centre here in Dubai, we operate under the structure of special purchase vehicles. This SPV, the best way to think about it, is like a separate company from Stake. So if you were to go on the DIFC public register, you would see close to 300 different companies are opened, and each company has a list of shareholders. Those are all of the investors in a specific unit. It's an independent company. What that does is it ring fences all of the money from Stake. So if anything was to happen to Stake, the investors' money are protected. And if anything was to happen to the SPV or the unit, then Stake is protected. Separate bank accounts and everything. It limits the risk exposure. We've got no economic interest in that specific SPV as well. And it really helps us to simplify that funding process. So if you are interested and you want to have a look, go to the DIFC public register, take a look at some of our units, and you will see all of the investors listed underneath there. So a little bit of a tease for you today. Coming up on Stake, we are actually entering a really, really exciting quarter at Stake. We've got some really amazing product initiatives coming up. Some of these we've been working on for a very, very long time across the business, but we're going to give you a little tease today, and that is one of our products called Auto Invest. Before I go into that, I'll give you a quick introduction to the exit window. So I mentioned earlier about whole home sales and giving liquidation options to our investors sooner. We also have our exit window. These exit windows happen twice a year in May and November. They open for 2 weeks. And essentially what we do is we go out, we do third-party valuations on our portfolio, and we then tell you, hey, your shares are worth this, and then you can buy and sell different shares. Now, if you're not an investor on Stake yet and you want to buy in the exit window, you absolutely can do. You just need to have invested in one property before you then invest in the exit window. So it's opening soon. It's opening in less than 2 weeks. So make sure that you invest in a property to get access to the exit window, where you can also buy shares up to a 20% discount. So there could be some really great offers on there if you invest beforehand. Auto Invest. So this is an exciting one. We have got this launching in the coming weeks. Essentially, you invest on Stake quite actively right now. You pick specific properties where you want to invest, but we're also very aware, and we've listened to a lot of the feedback we've got from our users, that you're maybe not sure where to invest, what unit you should go for, how to build that portfolio. And what Auto Invest does is it gives you that helping hand, so you don't have to think about or make those decisions. So you set up a monthly investment that recurs every single month, and depending on the investment approach you take, it will invest every single month for you, and it'll be fully automated. So there's a lot more coming from that and more information coming in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Make sure you check out our emails because we'll be launching that, like I say, in very, very soon. Which now takes me on to the Ask Us Anything session. So we wanted to make sure the bulk of this webinar today was a chance for you to ask any questions. Pop them in the box, ask any questions. We've got 2 of the team helping us out, answer them as well. So go for it. We'll start working our way through them as well.
So I'll jump to some of the questions you were getting, which is basically on vacancy. What happens in terms of vacancy. So whether you buy your own property or you buy on Stake, there's always vacancy risk. That's just an inherent risk with real estate. You might have a tenant for a year or a month, and then the next month or the next year they might have to leave or move somewhere else. So that risk is always inherent. But it's the difference between buying into a full property or with us is you get the benefit of diversification, which is what we always push for. So when you're putting your money across one property or 5 properties, you're going to decrease your risk of vacancy by investing into multiple properties on the platform, because the chances of 5 properties going vacant versus one are a lot less. So, we advise that people should be investing into various properties, which reduces your vacancy risk. And then one thing I'll say is we're highly incentivized to work with the top property managers to ensure that your properties are always rented. And that's why we introduced something called the rental guarantee that, once the property is fully funded, that if within the first 2 months you don't get your first rental payment, then we would cover that, because we know that we'll be able to get a tenant within a maximum of 3 months. Another question that I have here is, as I'm not a resident in UAE, how can I differentiate between the different opportunities? I can see that the rental returns are very close for different opportunities. That's a great question. How do you differentiate? So what we've done on our platform is we've enabled people to see the different, strategies per property. So there's some that are high yield, there's some that are balanced, there's some that are capital appreciation or potential for high capital appreciation. And what that does is it allows you to check which one, to diversify across the 3 different investment strategies. And as I just said, it'd be we would say that it's very good to diversify so that you get exposure to different areas and different strategies. Because one that is high yield will give you high yield, but one that has a high potential for high capital appreciation will enable you to then make more money on the appreciation side over a long term. I'm trying to sell my shares, but I wasn't able to on the last exit window. So, the reason why is maybe you didn't discount them or you didn't find a buyer at that price, and I always say this, when you're trying to sell when you have a property today and you want to sell it and you say my asking price is $1 million dirhams and you list it on Property Finder, the chances are of you closing it at $1 million dirhams are very slim. And the reason why is no one's going to buy a property from you at your asking price. So that's why we have exit windows. You might be able to sell it at your asking price, but also sometimes if you give a discount, then you'll be able to sell them faster, which is exactly what happens in the real world, in the open market. If you set a discount on your shares or on your stakes, then you're able to sell them faster. But the beauty of this, and someone asked, what is the difference between stake and other platforms? One thing I'll say is, we're the largest real estate investment platform in the region. We have the most amount of properties, we have the most amount of transactions, we have the most amount of users. We also are beyond everyone in terms of our technology. And the reason why I say this is because when you are dealing with an investment platform, you want to work with an investment platform that has experience in execution and has great technology, because technology allows you to invest in a comfortable way, in a transparent way. But also when you want to exit, you want to work with a platform that has a lot of users. I'll say one thing as well, as a business, now because we are one of the top buyers of ready residential real estate in Dubai, it enables us to get great deals. And that will enable you as an investor to benefit from the scale that Stake has as a business. And one thing I'll also like to add is within the next month, we'll be live in Saudi Arabia, which will enable people to invest in new opportunities in a different country through the same app. So that also gives you exposure and reduces your risk, and really it gives you more opportunities to expand your portfolio outside of just the UAE. And last but not least, I'll say, as a business, we're funded by the largest names in the region. We recently closed our Series A in the summer, funded by some of the largest shareholders, Mubadala, which is out of Abu Dhabi, the sovereign wealth fund of the Abu Dhabi government. And then we have investors like Aramco in Saudi Arabia, which is the VC arm of Aramco called WAD. So really, as a business and as shareholders, we have some of the top names, and that gives users and investors comfort over potential other platforms who are entering the market or are trying to copy what we do in our business. So questions on Auto Invest, stay tuned. We'll have those. We'll have a specific, marketing campaign and educational webinar on Auto Invest, which was coming very soon. So that'll be something that every user will be able to ask any questions. We'll answer them. So stay tuned. We'll have those within the next week that you'll be able to see. Why can't we see each property until when it is rented in our portfolio? You can't, you mean funded. So every single property that's on the platform, once it's funded, it's in your portfolio. Until it's actually fully funded, it won't be, once it's invested, you'll see in your portfolio, but you won't start earning rent on it until it's fully funded. When you exit a property, are you actually selling it? So as an investor, are we getting return of the ongoing rental income plus a percentage of the profit made from the sale of that property? Great question. Yes, 100%. So when we fully exit a property, and that's one thing that we've done really well in all our properties that we've exited, you'll get a combination of both the rental income that you've earned while the property was held, but over and above that, you're also getting the capital appreciation on the property. So a lot of we've exited over 10 properties. We have a lot more properties that we're going to exit over the next quarter. And those have all been exited at a higher price than what was bought for. And all the investors that have invested on those properties have made a dual income, which is both capital appreciation and the rental returns. Sarah, do you want to jump on some?
So we've got a question here about the investment strategies and what's the difference. So when we look at our investment strategies, we've got balanced, capital growth, and high yield. High yield are the investments that essentially will pay out a higher yield and a higher rental income every month. The capital growth are investments located in particular areas where we think and believe the capital growth will transpire. Balanced is essentially just an approach between both of those. Another question here, do we do property flips? Stay tuned, that's all I'm going to say. Also got a question here about tax responsibility and being able to get a tax statement. So reach out to our account managers and we can assist with that. Quite a few of our investors from the US are also requesting that. Question here on the minimum investment. So to invest on stake, the minimum investment is 500 dirham, which is $136. And also just a question about the exit window. So you can exit in the exit window and also wait for the whole home sale. So you might just partially liquidate in the exit window and then wait for the entire sale. The benefit obviously of the exit window allows you to liquidate quicker. One thing we can't guarantee is that we will exit a property, say next year. It really depends on the market. It depends on the offer we get. And it depends when we can give the investors the best return, which is why we have some of those early exits as well. Another question here asking, what if the property isn't fully funded? Do the investors get their investment back? So we have now got 300 plus investments. This has never happened. We've got a huge growing investor base. And this is why we're a curated platform. We only list 6 or 7 units at one time to make sure they're the right investment for investors. So that's never really happened for us at Stake, never been a problem. We just can't find properties quick enough sometimes. So can you explain the exit opportunities and the process behind it? So yeah, as mentioned, we have got whole home exits. We do a valuation after 5 years where we say this is the value of the property and then put a vote to the investors to exit that. And then we also have the exit windows, which will happen in the next 2 weeks and twice a year where you can liquidate your some of your shares then as well. When do you normally exit? Is there a specific month or any time? So the exit windows, like I say, are in May and November. The other kind of whole home exits, they are at any time. It really does depend on the market and how the market is performing and what offers we get. Just some requests on targeting new areas like Expo City, good for capital growth. So yes, we are always looking at new areas. So if you look at our investment report that we just released, you'll see quite a few of the new areas that we're introducing. We're just very selective. We really like to look at the developer, the building, the opportunity, the community, the infrastructure around it. So there are other areas we are looking to expand into, and you'll see all the new ones that we've done over this past quarter as well. Do we hold any in-person events in Dubai? Yeah, so we've recently had our first event. We're actually having a kind of open door policy in the office. Do feel free to come through and speak to us. We're located in DIFC in Gate Avenue. Come and meet the team. It's very easy to find us, very easy access, but I recommend you come and see us. But we're hoping to do more investor events to bring people together. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. Rami, do you want to take some?
Yep. So this is a great question. What happens if stake closes or is bankrupt, will I continue to receive my income? So yes, and the reason why I say that is because as a platform, we don't own anything in real estate, and that's the beauty of what we do as a business. Is all the properties are in separate SPVs. You are the owners of the properties. We just manage them for you. If God forbid anything happens to stake, the properties are going to continually be managed by a third party, and you'll be the owners. We will then, not have anything to do. So your ownership in the property has nothing to do with stake as a business. If you are a developer, how do we work with developers? We do work with developers. We have an acquisitions team. As I said, we're one of the top buyers of ready residential real estate now in the market. So please reach out to us. I'm sure we can work together on stock, if provided they're at the right price and the right location. Do you provide fractional ownership for commercial real estate as well? Working on that, no promises, but hopefully we will have an answer for that soon. And the reason why is we work closely with our regulator to ensure that all the properties and opportunities on our platform are vetted, and the regulator is comfortable with anything that we list on the platform. So before we do that, we just need to make sure that the regulator approves that. What about other Emirates apart from Dubai? Stay tuned. We are working on that. Again, we want to focus on value, and we want to focus on opportunities that provide rental income. So some Emirates, for example, Ras Al Khaimah has a fantastic opportunity right now, but most of the opportunities there are off plan. So for us, we want to focus on ready income generating properties. So we might be looking at other Emirates, and please stay tuned for that. Let me go through some. How is KYC conducted? So we do it through a third-party provider. All your information is private, it's secured, it's locked. We don't get involved with releasing your information to anyone or sharing it with anyone. It's through a third-party provider that is for the KYC, and that's part of our regulation. And it's it's not shared with third parties that is outside of the KYC provider. So your information is safe, and it's actually required by regulation to ensure that your information is safe. Answered this one. How is valuation set for exit windows? Great question. So what we do is we have the exit windows, whereby every 6 months, if you look at your platform when you invest, if you look at your portfolio when you invested on stake, there's a valuation report, and that's updated every 6 months. When it comes to the exit windows, we allow people to sell at the latest valuation report, or at a 20%, 15%, 10%, and 5% discount. And I got asked a question saying, why can't we sell for more? The reason why is we also want to take care of investors. We want people to sell at what the market price is. Allowing people to sell for more than the market price isn't really a fair platform, because people will end up paying for something that is above the value of the market, and we don't want to do that. We really care about the investors on the platform. So we allow you to sell at the latest valuation. It's a third-party valuation. So it's not like, a number that's being put in from the sky. It's actually third-party valuation that comes in and allows you to sell at that latest valuation or at a discount. Yes, I love these. Can you have a dark mode for the app? We're working on that, and then differentiate between the ones you've invested versus the ones that you haven't. Yes, that's already in the works, and I believe it exists. So if you want to, please send us an email on this. We'll be able to direct you to that. Another question: if the property doesn't get funded, you get your money back 100%. But as Sarah mentioned, we have not. That's never happened over 300 properties. I'll give you. So here's another interesting thing. So right now, as well as a differentiation over, other platforms and what we do in the business in the market, in 2024, our average has been to fund properties in 11 days. And why do I say this? Is today, if you list a property on Property Finder, it's going to take you. The average today is over 40 days, and if it's mortgage, it's over 60 days. Properties are being transacted on stake in 11 days. And I've heard complaints from people saying, hey, by the time I get the email and notification, some of the properties that you list are already sold. We've actually sold a property in less than 5 minutes. And that shows you the power of this platform, of what we've built, and the users that we have, and the great investors that we have on the platform. We're working on getting those notifications faster too, so that you don't miss out on opportunities. And that's something that will potentially help with Auto Invest when we launch it. Question. So are we giving people an opportunity to invest in our company? As of now, we're not. As I said, we just closed our Series A round by some of the largest investors in the region. So right now we are funded. Will that happen later in the future? Maybe. But as of now, we already have the funding that we need. What happens in case of natural disasters and civil unrest? So right now, our properties are fully insured. There's always the unknown, but in terms of natural disaster, our properties are fully insured. What if a tenant leaves the property? What if the tenant leaves or the property is leased after a few months after the property is fully funded? Yes, your rental yields will be consistent. As long as the property is there's a tenant inside, you will be getting consistent rent paid at the end of every month. It's very simple and it's fully transparent. You can see on your portfolio, we're actually launching something new to our portfolio page for our investors to get even more transparency on exactly what's going on and what's being rented and the vacant. But I think we communicate really well with all our investors, and you guys see when the property is vacant, we announce it to you. When it's rented, we announce it to you. It's all visible on the app. Sarah.
Yeah, so just had a question here on the 7% we charge of the upside. So when we exit a property once we've sold the entire unit, we take a percentage of the growth of that. So let's say we bought that unit at 1 million, we sold it at 1.5, we take 7% of just that capital appreciation. The reason we do that is we want to make sure we're very incentivized to make sure we get units that perform. So this is why we're making sure we go for units in, capital growth locations to make sure we deliver for our investors. How are valuations on the exit window? So again, we work with a third-party valuator. We have a few different third-party valuation companies that do the valuation of all of our units. Now, the unit has to be held for a year with stake before it's valid to go on the exit window. So if you have invested in the recent months, those units may not feature on the exit window. You just need to hold that investment for a year. Question here about title deeds might be taking some time to be issued. We'll definitely look into that. We're doing a lot on the operational side to reduce some of the times of these processes. So a question on the yearly investment return and projected net yield. So your net yield is essentially your monthly income that you would receive every single month, but calculated on a yearly percentage. When you look at the entire ROI, that is including your net yield as well as the projected capital appreciation. That gives you an idea of what your annualized ROI would be on an investment with stake. Question here about residences, serviced residences. I'm not sure if we've got any serviced residences on stake, but Emaar, absolutely. We love Emaar. We do a lot of units on Emaar. We've also got quite a few units on the address as well. So we definitely take those kind of names in our portfolio. Question here on the maintenance cost. So within the forecast, and again, if you go into an investment projections before you invest, you'll see all of the projections there, and you'll see that we factor in a certain cost of the maintenance. This is to make sure that we're not bothering, the investors with small things that we have to do on the maintenance side. So we forecast that as well. Why should I invest in stake rather than the S&P 500? Great question. One of the things that I think we always say is diversification is key. And it's not just about investing in particularly one thing, it's diversifying across different assets. So when you look at the Dubai real estate market and you look at the growth Dubai is seeing in particular, it gives a very, very valid reason why you should be investing in not just stake, but the Dubai real estate market. So I always say that there's nothing wrong with investing in multiple different ways, whether that's index funds, S&P 500. Stake is another way to diversify, but you're also diversifying into an asset class that is performing very well and projected to grow continually over the coming years as well. Just a question on the exit window. How do I know the exit window purchase is at a discounted price? So you'll clearly see that on the exit window. You'll see the value of the shares and you'll see what discount it is listed for. So you will know if you are buying the shares at a discounted rate as well. Question on Saudi Arabia. Will I be able to invest in KSA and UAE on the same app? So yes, it is all on one app. it will be an option for you to switch to different experiences. Now, because in Saudi, we are regulated by the Capital Markets Authority, we're regulated now by 2 different companies. There is the same feeling, the same experience, but you have to go into a separate account. But it is all there under one app, so you'll be able to see all of your investments in one place. Just a question on if the property doesn't get tenanted. So we have a rental guarantee. What this means is that by any unit, regardless or not if there is a tenant there, by the 2nd month, Stake will always pay the rental income. So that removes any concerns on, is this going to be tenanted anytime soon? So we make sure we completely alleviate that worry by making sure we've got a rental guarantee in place as well. Is the investment in Saudi in dirham or riyals? That will be riyals. Just a question on the unit area purchase decisions. What drives our decision? So a few different things. We definitely look at areas, prime areas. We also look at unit size. These are typically units that have higher occupancy rates, studio, 1 bedrooms, occasionally 2 bedrooms. We look at the developer, we look at the building, we look at quite a few different factors when we determine it. Because again, we're regulated, we have to put everything through good stress testing to make sure it's a solid investment. But those are typically our guidelines on what we're investing in. Amy, do you want to take some?
Yeah, sure. There's one here that says, what's the reserve fund for when you're already paying for maintenance and management charges? So reserve fund, I'll give you a perfect example. There was one of the properties where a pipe burst and there was actual flood in the property. And that's something that needed to be fixed, obviously, on the spot because there was a tenant that was living in the property. So that's where the reserve fund comes in. You know, the reserve fund is for a rainy day, and that stays in the account of the SPV. So it's not touched by Stake and is only used when there's a sense of emergency or something happens. And when the property is sold, anything that's reserved that stays in the reserve fund is refunded back to the investors. So, you know, rather than what some people might do is don't take a reserve fund, and then if a rainy day happens and there's not enough income left in the account, they end up not fixing the issue or deducting it from your rental income, and then your yield drops. We like to keep a reserve fund whereby if anything happens in the property, whether it's a flood or something gets broken, because some of the stuff is on the landlord. If there's a huge AC leak, that's not on the tenant. So all these things, that's part of the reserve fund. Okay. Address verification sometimes might be difficult. We understand, trust me. You know, it's something that really keeps us up at night. We're working with the regulator to try to make this process as easy as possible. But you know, we ask for a utility bill or a bank statement, anything that shows your full name, and it just needs to be valid within the last 3 months, not older than 3 months. So you know, wherever you are in the world, and as I said, we onboard anyone from anywhere in the world as long as it has a utility bill or a title deed or anything that shows that that's where you reside within the last 3 months. It needs to be in your name. Now, if you live with someone, then it can be in that person's name, but then they need to upload a letter that says you are living with that person. It's just, you know, as I said, we're regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority. As Sada said, we're also regulated now in Saudi Arabia by the CMA, the Capital Markets Authority. So when you have 2 regulators, you really want to ensure that you're abiding by all the rules. And that really gives you comfort as an investor that you're dealing with a platform that is dual regulated by some of the most stringent regulators out there, the most professional and well-known regulators. And that gives you comfort that we were able to achieve those licenses because we have up-to-date KYC and onboarding processes. So can landlords sell their properties through us? Yes, we actually now, I don't know what the latest number is actually. It's just over close to 400 or 350 individual sellers that we've worked with. So we work with sellers from everywhere, and we work with some of the top brokerages in town. So yes, if you're a seller looking to sell property, if it makes sense, if it's the right with the right developer, right location, then yeah, we will always look at your properties, send them to us, and then we will come back to you within 24 hours with an offer or a no. Why does the Stake Elite tier have expiry? Because at the end of the day, investors need to invest consistently to for us to be able to give them that elite service. So at the end of the day, it's something that you have to maintain, just like any other tier in other businesses, whether it's airlines or somewhere else. It's something that you need to keep up over a 12-month period. Do we take on debt or leverage to maximize returns? Unfortunately, we don't, because the regulator does not allow debt. Also, I want to highlight, because we had another question, are we Sharia compliant? Yes, we are. We're fully Sharia compliant and certified. Our certificate is on the platform. You can see it on our website, and you can actually see it on the app. So we're fully compliant, even by the regulator. We have the rights to operate something called the Sharia window, which means our entire platform is Sharia compliant and certified. Can you talk to us a little bit about coming in Saudi Arabia? We are really frustrated to know. Trust me, we really want to be live. If it was up to us, we would be live yesterday. But it's just really now about finding the exact right opportunities. And I'm happy to say that we've secured some great opportunities for our investors. I'd like to say we'd be live by mid-November, but I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So I would say by the end of November, you will be able to invest in Saudi Arabia properties through our app. We've done some amazing things there, some great due diligence. So the properties are going to be on the platform you'll be very excited about. It really gives people the opportunity to participate in one of the most exciting countries and cities in the world right now. We couldn't be more excited. We have a full team there. Our office is in central Riyadh, next to CAF, the King Abdullah Financial District. So we're very excited to be there. And yeah, we are, please stay tuned. We're very, very close. Are you transferring the money to our company account or escrow account? The money that is transferred on Stake goes to a client money account, which is a separate account from Stake. It's in Emirates NBD, Emirates Bank in Dubai. So it's not into our company account. It's a separate account for investors. And as I've said, we're dual regulated. We have licenses. We've operated now for 4 years. We have some of the top shareholders, transacted over 300 properties, over $500 million dirhams. So really, we're as credible as they get. Yeah, house key, yeah, that's done. We've answered that. Okay, I tried to exit a property, but I was yeah. So if you exited a property where you sold it at a discount, yes, and if you had bought it at a price where the property didn't appreciate the same, yes, you may incur a loss. So that's why we say real estate is a long-term investment, and people ask us, hey, why do you promote a 5-year investment period? Because real estate is not an asset class that you want to get in for 6 months and get out, which is why we keep it at least for 1 year. But just like anything, when you buy real estate, there's expenses. So for you to really give yourself time to make the money over the capital appreciation side of things, we ask people to hold on longer. But that's why we have exit windows. That if you do want to exit after a year, we give you the opportunity to do that on the exit windows. But realistically, real estate is a longer term investment. It's an investment that gives you rental income at the end of every month, and also gives you an opportunity over a long term period to make money on the capital appreciation side, which means the increase of the property price over time. Why do we have refurbishment and maintenance? I've said that already. It's really purely because of the fact that even if the fact that the property is new, we need to always have a certain budget in case anything happens inside the property to ensure that everything that it's God forbid a rainy day happens, that is covered from the maintenance fund. And if God forbid if something happens, we cover that. But let's say nothing happens at the end when the property is sold, that income is given back to you. It's still in the SPV account, an account separate from anything that has to do with Stake, so you're fully covered. Yeah, this is done. Okay. Can you live in the properties? That's a great question. So if they are vacant, you can reach out to us. If you have someone who wants to stay in the property, you can reach out to us. But yeah, so at the end of the day, for us, it's if there's a vacant property and people want to stay in them, please reach out to us and we can give you the booking link. That's something that we are actually working on. So yes, you can. How often are apartment depreciation reviews updated? Every 6 months. So we do a third-party valuation report every 6 months. Can you get a copy of this webinar? Yes, you can. It's being recorded and we will share it on our YouTube channel, I think by tomorrow or after tomorrow. Cool. Sarah, do you want to answer some?
I think that's pretty much it. When you start investing a certain amount, how much income per month? So just one thing I will say is we've got our investment calculator. If you go onto the app, you'll see the however much you invest on a monthly basis, depending on the yield, depending on the holding period, it will tell you exactly what your projected returns are. So if you're unsure about how much to invest, what returns you can expect, go to the app and look at the investment calculator. One other thing I will say that I think will help as well understand more about Stake is we've got the Stake Academy. There's some really useful videos in there that you can absorb, look through, and it's our founders talking all about the product. So if you've got any other questions, I'm sure a lot of it will also be answered within there as well. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we have any more questions coming through. Let's have a look. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I've got a few more. Is the returns from the calculator guaranteed or does it fluctuate? So look, the returns aren't guaranteed. This is based on the yield that's obviously put in there and the appreciation that we're forecasting. Those appreciations are conservative. So like any investment, you know, we can't guarantee returns, but so it may fluctuate, but this is also based on a historical performance as well. Someone asking again to stay in holiday homes. So yeah, Rami answered that one. Any more questions? Pop them in the box. We're growing always, so we're always looking for more great people to hire. So if you go to our website and go to the careers section, you will see where you can apply for some of our open roles. So do inquire there. We're growing quickly here between here and KSA. Where is Stake Academy? So if you go into the app, you'll be able to find the Stake Academy in there. There's a few different entry points for it, but there's different videos on the type of units we acquire, liquidity options, the SPV financial structure, how investments are protected. So you'll find all of that in the app as well, along with, like I say, the investment calculator.
So there's a question about how do we make decisions on buying the properties and the projections. So after being in the market, so I've been in the market now in real estate for over 20 years. We have a fantastic team. Our real estate experience is over 50 years. And as a Stake, it's been operational for just under 4 years. So we have all the data in the market now to be able to make educated decisions and projections on properties and where we see them in terms of rental yields and capital appreciation. We won't go for properties that are developed by certain developers just because we know that the quality won't be great and the longevity of those properties won't be great. We are very focused on working with some of the top developers, top quality, top location. So that's really one of the most important criteria. Another thing is when we look at the projections, we look at the supply that's upcoming into the market. We look at where the rental growth has been over the last 2 years. We also look at price growth. So if you have a lot more supply coming into that market, are the prices underpriced or are they overpriced? So we have an in-house algorithm. And that's why I say when today people look to sell their properties, we can give them an offer within 24 hours. because we know exactly where what price the offer should be at, and what transaction level that, in terms of rental, in terms of sales price, that the transaction needs to happen at. So we really run through various kind of variables before we make a decision to buy a property or list a property on the platform. And when you look at this, and then we do, once we have the number, we also get a third party valuation report to ensure that the prices are within the market and the yields are within the market. So that's how, you know, those are how the projections and decisions are made. And also you look at the last 4 or 5 years in Dubai, specifically since 2020 COVID, and where the market projections are, you're looking at a very healthy growth, a lot more stable than where we were. You know, in the last 3-4 years, you had some property prices increase over 100%. We don't expect to see that anymore. We see prices starting to stabilize, and that's a healthy thing for the market. And when we say stabilize, we see growth at 5% a year versus when we were seeing growth at 20 to 25% a year. And that for me is a sign of a healthy and mature market. And that's why we're very excited about the certain properties that we put on the platform, because we know that the prices will still steadily increase and provide you with a great rental income from the returns that we have. Are we allowed to do underdeveloped properties? We are not allowed. We only focus on ready residential real estate, which, by the way, you know, has been great because it's income generating. You don't have to wait 4 to 5 years to see income. And I'll tell you something, what we're seeing in the secondary market today, and this is something that really is very important. Off-plan properties today are being sold at a premium, at a higher price than ready properties. So you can actually buy something that's ready today at a discount versus something that is still a plot of land, which for me is, you know, is a fantastic opportunity, because you can buy something that's ready, start making rental income immediately, still have the opportunity for capital appreciation, instead of waiting and taking risk that in 4 years it'll be ready at the right time. You're not going to make any income during those 4 years. So really, ready residential real estate is a massive opportunity. And if you look at other countries and other cities around the world, there's funds and family offices and institutional money that goes after these ready residential real estate in the billions of dollars, because there's value there, there's income generating opportunities. That's where we see there's a huge opportunity in Dubai and in Saudi Arabia. Will there be a ripple effect of upcoming financial crisis, recession in the West? I mean, listen, some of the top banks have said that it's a soft landing. There isn't a recession coming in other markets. So, you know, I don't, with the projections today in Dubai, we see that the market is, as I said, ready for stable growth and mature growth, which is great. You know, we get asked a lot about, you know, political situation in the region. Dubai, if you look back, and even Saudi Arabia, if you go back to all the political conflicts or issues that have happened in the region, they've always been a positive benefit to both markets. You look at Arab Spring, you look at the Russian-Ukraine war, you look at any of the conflicts that have happened, and the Iraq war, Iraq-Kuwait war before. If you look at all of these have benefited both Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and money has flowed into the markets when that, because, you know, they're seen as beacons of stability. What Dubai has done in the last 4 years after COVID. So all that stability and what the rulers have done here, it enables people to say, okay, I want to park money in a safe country and a safe city like Dubai. And that's really, you've seen it over the years. So we really see that the market will grow steadily over the next 5 years. How can I check that you actually own? So as I said, every single property, when you invest on stake, you get 2 sets of documents. You get a title deed and you get a share certificate. You get a title deed in the name of the SPV, but also your share certificate, you can go online to the DIFC website and see that you're an owner in that SPV. So it's really transparent. You can visit our office? Yes, you can. We're located in DIFC. Please feel free to visit us whenever you want. Our door is always open. We're here from the morning till evening. Yes, I think that's it. So one last question I'll answer, which basically talks about fluctuation in yield. So, you know, you have to understand that sometimes if a tenant leaves, you know, you might have some vacancy, which affects your overall yield. If you bought into a holiday home, sometimes you know, in Dubai, as we know, the peak season starts from October all the way till May, and then obviously in the summer, holiday homes tend to dip, so you might have a lower yield. So really, when we look at yield, you have to look at it over the time of whether it's a short term or long term, and if it's long term, was there any vacancy in between? But we give you projections that takes that into account, and you see your returns on your portfolio. I got a football question. Will this footballer, I know this Vinicius going to win the Ballon d'Or? That's a great question. I don't know. I love basketball, but yeah, I know some people at stake would take you up on that. Yeah, I think we're done with the questions. Really, thank you so much for your time today. As I said, one of the main values as that we have at stake is customer centricity. We are always open to ideas. We're always open to feedback, good or bad. Please reach out to us. We're always available. We're updating the app every week. There's a new release, which might be annoying for some of you, but really what we're trying to do is enhance your experience. We have a lot of exciting things coming before the end of the year. Our launch in Saudi Arabia, Auto Invest, just enhancements to the app. There's buy and flip, which is coming very soon. So there's really a lot of exciting things coming to the platform. So stay tuned. We're really building the leading and the largest real estate investment platform in the region. So stay tuned, and thank you very much for being our loyal investors and our loyal users. We appreciate you, and as I said, always open for feedback. Thank you very much, and I wish you guys a great day, great evening, wherever you are. Bye-bye.